With a large detail brush, paint the trees in the foreground with burnt umber and country olive, fairly strong. Put the paint on fairly thick. It goes right the way up out to the top of the painting. Branch leaning into the picture. And while this is still wet, use a credit card and you scrape down the length of the tree trunk like this. And there's the texture of the paper on the tree trunk. While that's still wet, with a medium detail brush, same colour, burnt umber, country olive, and put the shading down one side of the tree trunk. I'll show you that again, shall I? So, large brush, plenty of paint, burnt umber and country olive. Paint that right the way up out of the top of the painting. Slightly thicker at the base, some branches, with your card, just scrape down the length of the tree trunk. You hold the card at about 45 degrees to the paper and just scrape the paint off the surface. Stop at the base. Just get rid of some of the paint off the card, and while that branch is still just a little bit wet, take some texture off there. Large detail brush, burnt umber, country olive, and then paint back into the shady part. With a medium detail brush, similar colour to the trees, so that's country olive and burnt umber. Just paint in the reflection of the trees into the puddle. The large one there. And this smaller tree here comes into there. Just a darker line along the water's edge. Just reflect that into the water as well. With the fang off, squeeze the water out of the brush. Dark green, country olive and midnight green. At the base of the trees, just flick up some grasses. Into the green area in front of the puddle, flick up. Underneath this large tree with the ivy, and in the foreground. So this is wet on dry. Some texture like that. Wash the brush out. Moving on to the foliage brush. Again, squeeze the water out of the brush. Go back to that Bluebell colour, which is cobalt blue with permanent rose. not too wet, and stipple some texture into the foreground bluebells. But we don't go into the bluebells at the back of the wood, just leave those fairly pale and mysterious. Moving on to the golden leaf brush, squeeze the water out of the brush, country olive, and stipple some leaves into the trees in the foreground. Right the way into the corner of the painting, maybe a little bit darker. This is midnight green. Right, and underneath the large tree, just put a little bit of foliage on the ground, just adding a little bit of texture. Then allow that to dry. With the medium detail brush and the colour shadow, just going to put a little bit of shade coming away from those trees in the foreground, going across the footpath like that. Not too strong. And this other tree just back there. And finally, remove the masking tape. Remember to peel away from the painting. And I think that's just about it. So here we have a very, very simple bluebell wood, simple background, small trees becoming stronger as they come closer to you, an interesting credit card technique for the tree trunks. The only thing you need to do when you're in this wood is take a pair of wellies because of this puddle down here. I hope you've enjoyed it.
Now available on DVD. Try these techniques yourself at home whenever you wish. Today's workshop is now available to order on DVD from the Painting and Drawing channel. For further information and to order your copy, go to www.paintingdrawingchannel.com.